केशवधृता शुकररूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे। कर कमलवरेणखम् अद्भुतशृङ्गां दलितहिरण्यकशिपु तनुभृङ्गम् Narahari Rupa. Sing it every morning. Chalayasi vikramane bhalimadbhuta vamana padhanakanirajanita janapavana केशवधृता वामनरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे। क्षत्रिय रुधिरमये जगदपगत पापं स्नपयसि पयसि शमित भवतापम् रुधिरमये जगदपगत स्नपयसि पयसि शमित भवतापम् केशवधृता भृगुपतिरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे। वितरसि धिक्षुरणे धिक्पति कमनीयं दशमुखमौलिबलिं रमणीयम् दशमुखमौलिबलिं रमणीयम् केशवधृता राम शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे। वहसि वपुषि विशदे वसनं जलदाभं हलहति भीतिमिलिता यमुनाभम् मिलिता यमुनाभम् वाहसि वपुषि विशदे वसनं जलदाभम् हलहति भीतिमिलिता यमुनाभम् केशवदृता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदृता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे वहसि वपुषि विशदे वसनं जलदाभम् हलहति भीतिमिलिता यमुनाभम् वहसि वपुषि विशदे वसनं जलदाभम् हलहति भीतिमिलिता यमुनाभम् केशवदृता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदृता हलधर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे निन्दसि यज्ञविधेरः श्रुतिजातम् सदय हृदय दर्शित पशुघातम् केशवदृता बुद्ध शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे निधने कलयसि करवालम् धूमकेतुमिव किमपि करालम् केशवदृता कल्कि शरीरा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे श्रीजयदेव कवेरिदमुदितमुदारं शृणु सुखदं शुभदं भवसारम् केशवधृता दशविधरूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे शिव पुषि विशदे वसनं जलदाभम् आलहति भीतिमिलिता यमुनाभम् केशवधृता हलधररूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे श्री हलधर भगवान की जय श्री बलराम नित्यानंद की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद शिल भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर शिल प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपी गो श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मथुरा धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय नवदीप धाम की जय गंगा मई की जय यमुना मई की जय भक्ति देवी की जय तुलसी महारानी की जय समवेता भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री बलराम पूर्णिमा महामहोत्सव की जय श्री बलदेव की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बो ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड श्री गौरांगा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील प्रभुपाद नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामी नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सागररघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय कृतवान् किल कर्माणि सह रामेण केशव अतिमर्त्यानि भगवान् गूढकपटमानुषः Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadhatau sankirtanaikapitarau kamalayatakshav vishwambarau dvijavarau yugadharmapalau vande jagat priyakarau karunavatarau Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanandau Sahoditau Gaudode Pushpavantau Chitrau Sandhau Tamonudau. Okay, so I thought that we could read from several sections of Krishna book about the pastimes of Sri Balaram. Maybe say a few things here and there. There's so much to read, so we'll see what we can get through. This is from chapter 2 of the Krishna book, Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the Womb. I'm reading only a certain section of these chapters that are related directly to Lord Balaram. Okay. The Lord also declared to Yogamaya, this is Krishna, before he appears on this planet, or before he has appeared in the womb of, before he appeared in the womb of Devaki. So, in this section, we switched the chapter altogether. How did that happen? So here Yogamaya, before that. Okay, yeah. So, here Yogamaya is being ordered by the Supreme Lord to execute certain duties or certain things before the appearance of the Lord, to create the circumstances for Lord Krishna's appearance. And before Krishna appears, Lord Balaram appears. So, the Lord also declared to Yogamaya, my plenary expansion Anantasesh is within the womb of Devaki. On account of being forcibly attracted to the womb of Rohini, he will be known as Shankarshan and will be the source of all spiritual power, or Bala, by which one can attain the highest bliss of life, which is called Ramana. Therefore, the plenary portion Ananta will be known after his appearance as either as Shankarshana or Balarama. So, here you can see the connection between the word Ramana, Rama, and then also Bala. Bala means strength, and because Balaram is the source of all spiritual power, and with that spiritual power one can attain the highest bliss, which is called Ramana. Ramante yogino nante satyananda chidatmani iti rama pade nasau param brahma bidhiyate. Very famous verse. Srila Prabhupada also quoted this. I'm not sure where exactly it is found, but it is found in the Vedic scriptures. And the meaning of this verse is Ramante yogino nante. The yogis enjoy or experience the highest bliss. Anante, unlimited. They experience that unlimited bliss. Ramante yogino nante. Satyananda chidatmani. That, what is that? So, Satya, the supreme truth. Ananda, bliss. Satyananda, chit, full of knowledge. Atmani, one who is situated within everything. Satyananda Chidatmani. Iti Rama Pade Nasau. And that bliss, that what we just described, which is supreme, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, is defined in this one word, or called by this one word called Rama. Iti Rama Pade Nasau Param Brahma Bidhiyate. It refers to the supreme Brahman. Oh, it's found in the Padma Purana. Okay. So, therefore, here, Shankarshana is known as Balaram. This incarnation is known as Balaram because he is the source of great strength that gives one, the highest bliss of life. So therefore, worship of Balaram, also called Nityananda, is very important. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhyaha. We read that this morning. The purport is that one cannot attain the supreme platform of self-realization without being sufficiently favored by Balaram. Bala does not mean physical strength. No one can attain spiritual perfection by physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength which is infused by Balaram or Shankarshana. Ananta or Shesha is the source of the power which sustains all the planets in their different positions. Materially, this sustaining power is known as the law of gravitation. But actually, it is a display of the potency of Shankarshana. Balarama or Shankarshana is the source of spiritual power or the original spiritual master. Therefore, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is also the incarnation of Balaram, is the original spiritual master. And the spiritual master is the representative of Balaram, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who supplies spiritual strength. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is confirmed that the spiritual master is the manifestation of the mercy of Krishna. Thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yogamaya circumambulated the Lord and then appeared within this material world according to his order. When Yogamaya, the Supreme Personality, the Supreme Power, the Supremely Powerful Personality of Godhead, transferred Lord Sesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, both Devaki and Rohini were under Yogamaya's spell, which is called Yoga Nidra. When this was done, people thought that Devaki's seventh pregnancy had been a miscarriage. Thus, although Balaram appeared as the son of Devaki, he was transferred to the womb of Rohini to appear as her son. After this arrangement, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is always ready to protect his unalloyed devotees, entered within the mind of Vasudeva as the Lord of the whole creation with full inconceivable potencies. It is understood that in this connection, Lord Krishna first of all situated himself in the unalloyed heart of Vasudeva and was then transferred to the heart of Devaki. He was not put into the womb of Devaki by seminal discharge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable potency, can appear in any way. It is not necessary for him to appear in the ordinary way by seminal injection within the womb of a woman. So, here, the spiritual master is a representative of Balaram who supplies spiritual strength. So we get spiritual strength by worshipping the spiritual master. Because as we have also heard many times, within the order of the spiritual master contains what? The potency to follow the instruction also. So it's there. But one has to sincerely pray to Balaram to get that spiritual strength, to be able to assist the spiritual master. The spiritual master does not give an instruction to us if he thinks we cannot follow it. He gives us an instruction because he thinks that we can follow it. And if he thinks we can follow it, he being the representative of Balaram means that we can follow it. And we can do that. So, this is the purport of understanding that Lord Balaram is the original spiritual master and our spiritual master is a representative of Sri Balaram. Okay, so I'm going to go to the chapter of Brahma stealing the calves. Okay, I didn't note the number. Yeah. Okay, and 14 chapters prayers, yes, okay. So, okay, yeah. One day, now Brahma has stolen the calves of Krishna and the cowherd boys, hid them, and put them to a kind of a yogic sleep. So they don't even know that they're sleeping. And in Brahma's calculation, what's happening is Brahma takes them, keeps them away, and then is coming back to see. But Brahma's, that 1 minute, is like 1 year on our planet. Something like this, a moment or whatever. So Krishna expands himself, assumes the forms of all the calves and all the cowherd boys with all of their qualities, characteristics, tastes, mood, everything. So Now when Brahma stole the calves and cowherd boys, that day Balaram did not go out. Balaram was not present when Aghasura was killed. When Aghasura was killed, Balaram was not there. Yashoda Devi wanted him to stay for whatever reason. She wanted him to stay at home that day. So Krishna goes out with the cowherd boys, and Aghasura is killed, and then they're taking lunch, and Brahma steals all of them. Steals all the calves, and then steals all the cowherd boys. So then Krishna assumes all this form, and now almost 1 year has passed, and every day Krishna and Balaram are going out with the calves and cowherd boys who are actually Krishna. And so that's where we are right now. One day, a few days before a year had passed, Krishna and Balaram were maintaining the calves in the forest when they saw some cows grazing on the top of Govardhan hill. The cows would see down into the valley where the calves were being taken care of by the boys. Suddenly, on sighting the cows began to run toward them. They leaped downhill with joined front and rear legs. The cows were so melted with affection for the calves that they did not care about the rough path from the top of Govardhan hill down to the pasturing ground. They approached the calves with their milk bags full of milk, and they raised their tails upward. When they were coming down the hill, their milk bags were pouring milk on the ground out of intense maternal affection for the calves, although they were not their own calves. This is the most important point to understand, that these were not the cows' own calves, they were calves. These cows had their own calves, and the calves that were grazing beneath Govardhan hill were larger. They were not expected to drink milk directly from the milk bag, but were satisfied with the grass. Yet all the cows came immediately and began to lick their bodies, and the calves also began to suck milk from the milk bags. There appeared to be a great bond of affection between the cows and calves. It's actually a very beautiful sight to see cows happy, running. We saw oxen feeling very happy being released from their service of giving us an ox ride. So, I noticed how, when they would shake their legs, they would almost like skip on the grass and on the ground, and their tails would go up like this. So when the cows have their tails up, that means they're very happy. Just like you have dogs and they wag their tails, they're happy. So the cows, when their tails stick up, it means they're very happy. But this is actually quite a sight that it says here that they leap downhill with joined front and rear legs. That's a big leap. It's like, if you can imagine, the front and rear legs, they're leaping so fast that, they join their front and rear legs and then leap down. That means they're taking huge leaps. And it's really a scene because they have milk bags full of milk. It's not easy for cows to jump when they have milk bags full of milk. And they're leaping huge and running down the hill about a rough path. If anybody's visited Govardhan, it's not a very smooth, grassy hill. There's a lot of stones. And that's how Govardhan always has been. And so it's a rough path. And so it's quite an extraordinary scene. And like it said here, the calves were larger. They were not expected to drink milk. And they were not their own calves either. When the cows were running down from the top of Govardhan hill, the men who were taking care of them tried to stop them. Older cows are taken care of by the men, and the calves are taken care of by the boys. And as far as possible, the calves are kept separate from the cows, so that the cows do not drink all the available milk. Therefore, the men who were taking care of the cows on top of the Govardhan hill tried to stop them, but they failed. Baffled by their failure, they were feeling ashamed and angry. They were very unhappy. But when they came down and saw their children taking care of the calves, they all of a sudden became very affectionate toward the children. It was very astonishing. Although the men came down, disappointed, baffled, and angry, as soon as they saw their own children, their hearts melted with great affection. At once their anger, dissatisfaction, and unhappiness disappeared. They began to show paternal love for the children, and with great affection they lifted them in their arms and embraced them. They began to smell their children's head and enjoy their company with great happiness. After embracing the children, the men took the cows back to the top of the Govardhan hill. Along the way, they began to think of their children, and affectionate tears fell from their eyes. When Balaram saw this extraordinary exchange of affection between the cows and the calves, and between the father and their children, when neither the calves nor the children needed so much care, he began to wonder why this extraordinary thing had happened. He was astonished to see all the residents of Vrindavan so affectionate to their own children, exactly like they had been to Krishna. Similarly, the cows had grown affectionate to the calves as much as to Krishna. Balaram therefore concluded that the extraordinary show of affection was something mystical, either performed by the demigods or by some powerful man. Otherwise, how could this wonderful change take place? He concluded that this mystical change must have been caused by Krishna, whom Balaram considered his worshipable personality of Godhead. He thought, it was arranged by Krishna, and even I could not check its mystic power. Thus, Balaram understood that all those cows and calves were only expansions of Krishna. So here, what's amazing is that it's very important to note that Balaram is surprised not because this was the regular kind of affection that the cows displayed to the calves, or the parents displayed, or the fathers displayed to their children. Rather, Balaram noticed that the affection that they displayed was a notch higher, that affection that they had only reserved for Krishna. From this we can understand that the residents of Vrindavan, including the cows, would show more affection to Krishna than their own offsprings. This is the standard of devotional service of the residents of Vrindavan. It's very, very, very astonishing, and it's very unique. And it's not something that can be imitated. It's not something that can be so easily understood. That the residents of Vrindavan, they showed more affection to Krishna than they did to their own children, than they did to their own offsprings, including the cows, which is why the cows are great devotees. They're not ordinary living entities. And, there was some advertisement recently for some book. It was a series of lectures, and I was not really sure what it was. It was about a book named, some devotee is giving classes on a book called Ragavartma Chandrika, or Ragavartmani Chandrika, something like this. I wasn't really sure what it was, so I did a little search about it. It's a pretty esoteric book. It's about the path of raga, of spontaneous devotional service, the moonbeam that shines light on the path of pure devotion, on the path of spontaneous pure devotional service. So it's basically about raganuga bhakti, which is something that we all are expected to achieve at some point of time. But when I was trying to research a little bit about this, because I was trying to find out what it was, I came across an article. And the article was basically saying that all you have is greed. You don't need any rules and regulations. The moment you think of rules and regulations, it means you're not on the path of spontaneous devotional service. And therefore, actually, you should not follow. And the example that's given, it's quite, okay. The example that's given is that, say you want a sweet. You want gulab jamun. You see it at a store, displayed. You have nice juicy gulab jamun displayed on the store shelf. Now, greed means you should want to get it. You don't consider whether you have the qualification to get it or not. You just want to get it. That means you either beg, borrow, or steal, or buy, whatever, but you get it. That's it. It doesn't matter whether you're qualified or not. This is the explanation of greed. That greed, if you're contemplating whether you're qualified or not, then you're not greedy enough. So that means if you are like that, you will never come to the path of spontaneous devotional service, because it said, right? What's that verse? Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam. How does it begin? Nitya Krishna Siddha Prema. No, not that one. Not that one. I remember second line, not the first line. Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti shukritairna labhyate. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitam atihi kriyatam yati kutopi labhyate. Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam janma koti shukritairna labhyate. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitam atihi kriyatam yati kutopi labhyate. That the Krishna bhakti rasa, the mellows of pure devotional service that are experienced by the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord with Krishna himself, rasa bhava, this the ecstatic emotions, kriyatam yati kutopi labhyate, it is very rarely obtained. Kutopi labhyate. How do you get it? Tatra laulyam api mulyam, only greed. Tatra laulyam, this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Tatra laulyam api mulyam ekalam, this is the only way. Janma koti shukritairna labhyate, which cannot be obtained by performing millions of pious deeds in millions of lifetimes. Okay. But the qualification of someone who is greedy, this is correct. Unless you are greedy, you cannot obtain that. And one should be extremely greedy to obtain that pure devotional service that is experienced by the residents of Vrindavan. And one, by reading the pastimes of Krishna and by hearing about the activities of the associates of Krishna, one should develop that greed. But how does that greed look like? When you are greedy, when you are that much that you don't consider any qualification, it means you are consumed by that greed. It means that you are not concerned about anything else in this world. Nothing else matters at that point. Nothing else matters. And you see that here, that the cows, they leave the cowherd men, who they are not supposed to do, because you get chastised. And you're not supposed to do that. The cows run away from the cowherd men, seeking after the cows, which are actually Krishna. And the cowherd men also, they're angry, they're ashamed, they're disappointed. But then when they see Krishna, laulyam. That's the only thing that exists. They forget all of the other things. They forget all of the emotions. They forget, it doesn't matter to them anymore. And here we see how that Balaram is noticing that this is the relationship between the residents of Vrindavan and Krishna. How is this being exhibited to the calves and the cowherd boys? This shouldn't be. Therefore, these must be Krishna. There's something going on over here. So, one who has laulyam, it is very evident that he doesn't care for anything else in this world. He does not care for anything else. The cowherd girls, the gopis, when Krishna blew his flute in the middle of the night, they left everything. Some were breastfeeding their children. It's described in the 10th canto. Some of the gopis were breastfeeding their children. Some of them were serving dinner to their husbands. They just dropped everything and ran away. This is not ordinary stuff. That is laulyam. There is no consideration for anything worldly. Absolutely nothing. They don't care at that point. So, okay, all that is wonderful, but the problem with the Prakrita Sahajiyas is that they like the point that you don't have to follow the rules and regulations, and they think, yes, I have greed. I don't have to follow, and this is all I want. I want to be Sakhya. I want to be Gopa. I am this, whatever, this is my name, or this, I'm Gopi, and this and that. I have great attraction for this. But then why are you interested in eating pizza? Why do you still like pizza? Krishna doesn't eat pizza. Yashoda Devi doesn't offer pizza. Why you become so ecstatic when there is pizza? Why you pick up that nonsense guitar? What has the guitar got to do with your original Swarupa as a gopi? You're not going to have a rock concert in Vrindavan, Why you like doing rap? Why you rap? Why the hell is this crap? This is all nonsense. It's so evident. You don't even like dressing in dhoti. You're so attached to your jeans or whatever it is. And you had let your hair loose like one of the Rakshasis in Lanka. Krishna doesn't look like looking at your hair when it's all let loose like this. You have no conception. But you think that you're above this flower because, whatever, some weird thing. The so-called person who was explaining this in that article, anyways, he's considered some great Raga Bhakta. But he doesn't say these things. He talks about how you should reject rules and regulations. So anyways, it's messed up. So Balaram, you can see he's how perfect his observance. We have to learn because Balaram is representing spiritual master and the vision of the spiritual master. Guru Mukha Padmavakya Chittete Koriya Aikya, that we should learn. Okay, see, Balaram is looking. How is he observing? What are the qualities of the residents of Vrindavan that he's explaining over here? We should understand that and we should develop that as our final ideal. Balarama inquired from Krishna about the actual situation. He said, "My dear Krishna, in the beginning I thought that all these calves and cowherd boys were either great sages and saintly persons or demigods. But at present, it appears they are actually your expansions. They are all you. You yourself are playing as the calves and boys. What is the mystery of this situation? Where have those others calves and boys gone? And why are you expanding yourself as the calves and boys? Will you kindly tell me what is the cause?" At the request of Balaram, Krishna briefly explained the whole situation, how the calves and boys were stolen by Brahma and how he was concealing the incident by expanding himself so people would not know that the original calves and boys were missing. So, here also you can understand how by Krishna's arrangement, Balaram, who is Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is also omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, he actually, Paramatma is his expansion. It's actually Balaram's expansion. Paramatma is a plenary portion of Sri Balaram. But by Krishna's arrangement, even Balaram did not know about this. So similarly, by Krishna's arrangement, the spiritual master may not know about certain things. And he may seem that he's ignorant. And similarly, when Krishna wants the spiritual master to know something, immediately everything becomes revealed. This is because the spiritual master is directly connected to Krishna. Just as Lord Balaram here is directly receiving association of Krishna. Similarly, spiritual master is also directly associating with Krishna. But at no point of time, just because Balaram did not know that Brahma stole all these calves, just because he didn't exhibit that, he should not be considered as an ordinary person. Balaram should not be considered as just some ordinary living entity. No, Balaram is Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he is Supreme Personality of Servitor Godhead. Means he only knows whatever Krishna wants him to know. Other than that, he doesn't care. His only main goal is to serve Krishna. That's all. And therefore, that's the spiritual master's goal. He knows enough to be able to serve Krishna and please Krishna. And whenever he needs to know more, Krishna will give that intelligence. That's all. So, this is a nice point. Okay, so then going to the chapter of, I didn't note this number also. Yes, okay. Pralambhasura. Okay. Okay. Once, while the boys were engaged in their transcendental pastimes, a great demon of the name Pralambasura entered their company, desiring to kidnap both Balaram and Krishna. Although Krishna was playing the part of a cowherd boy as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he could understand everything past, present, and future. So, when Balambasura entered their company, Krishna began to think how to kill the demon. But externally, he received him as a friend. "Oh, my dear friend," he said, "it is very good that you have come to take part in our pastimes." Krishna then called all his friends and ordered them, "Now we shall play in pairs. We shall challenge one another in pairs." With this proposal, all the boys assembled together. Some of them took the side of Krishna, and some of them took the side of Balaram, and they arranged to play in duel. The defeated members in the duel fighting had to carry the victorious members on their backs, as a horse carries its master. They began playing, and at the same time tended the cows as they proceeded through the Bhandiravan forest. The party of Balaram, accompanied by Sridham and Vrishabha, came out victorious, and Krishna's party had to carry them on the backs through the Bhandiravan forest. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, being defeated, had to carry Sridhama on his back, and Bhadrasen carried Vrishabha. Imitating their play, Pralambasura, who appeared there as a cowherd boy, carried Balaram on his back. Pralambasura was the greatest of the demons, and he had calculated that Krishna was the most powerful of the cowherd boys. In order to avoid the company of Krishna, Pralambasura carried Balaram far away. The demon was undoubtedly very strong and powerful, but he was carrying Balarama, who is compared to a mountain, and therefore he began to feel the burden, and thus he assumed his real form. When he appeared in his real feature, he was decorated with a golden helmet and earrings, and looked just like a cloud with lightning carrying the moon. Balaram observed the demon's body expanding up to the limits of the clouds, his eyes dazzling like blazing fire, and his mouth flashing with sharpened teeth. At first, Balaram was surprised by the demon's appearance, and he began to wonder, how is it that all of a sudden this carrier has changed in every way? But with a clear mind, he could quickly understand that he was being carried away from his friends by a demon who intended to kill him. Immediately, he struck the head of the demon with a strong fist, just as the king of the heavenly planet strikes a mountain with his thunderbolt. Stricken by the fist of Balaram, the demon fell down dead, just like a snake with a smashed head, and blood poured from his mouth. When the demon fell, he made a tremendous sound, and it sounded as if a great hill were falling upon being struck by the thunderbolt of King Indra. All the boys then rushed to the spot. Astonished by the ghastly scene, they began to praise Balaram with the words, "Well done, well done." All of them then embraced Balaram with great affection, thinking that he had returned from death, and they offered their blessings and congratulations. All the demigods in the heavenly planets became very satisfied and showered flowers on the transcendental body of Balaram, and they also offered their blessings and congratulations for his having killed the great demon Pralambasura. So here also you can see how Balaram was first surprised. Krishna knew that this is demon, but Balaram apparently didn't know. One thing you can also understand from this is Balaram is so absorbed in his service to Krishna that he doesn't really care about knowing anything unless he really needs to know about it. When it comes to his attention, by Krishna's mercy, he always knows. Of course, he's Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. But the point is that this is Balaram's position, and Spiritual Master reveals the same kind of mood. He reveals the same kind of mood. And here Balaram, he becomes surprised, but then with a clear mind, he could understand that he was being carried away from his friends by a demon who intended to kill him. Similarly, the Spiritual Master always has a very clear mind. If you analyze the activities of the Spiritual Master, you will understand that there is no confusion in his mind, unlike our minds. Our minds have so much confusion all the time. There's so much fog in our head, and a lot of confusion. The Spiritual Master is very clear. He's very clear because vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeha kurunandana, that his only desire is to serve Krishna. His only desire is to serve his own Spiritual Master. And Balaram is like this. This is his only desire is that his whole purpose, Balaram's identity is to serve Krishna. There is nothing else. Balaram has no other identity. His identity is that he is servant of Krishna. Similarly, spiritual master has no other identity. The reason we have all this fog is because we have so many other types of identities. I am this, I am that, I like this, I like that, and all this kind of stuff, and it fogs our brain. If we were single-pointed, focused, as it said in the Guru Puja Kirtan, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Koriya Aikya, if we merge our consciousness with the instructions emanating from the lotus mat of the spiritual master, then there won't be any fog. There won't be any confusion. And that's what we see from Balaram. And immediately, he knows what to do. And so then, we will go to all the way to chapter 65. This is Lord Balaram, very nice chapter. Balaram visits Vrindavan. Lord Balaram became very anxious to see his father and mother in Vrindavan. Therefore, with great enthusiasm, he started on a chariot for Vrindavan. The inhabitants of Vrindavan had been anxious to see Krishna and Balaram for a very long time. When Lord Balaram returned to Vrindavan, all the cowherd boys and the gopis had grown up. But still, on his arrival, they all embraced him, and Balaram embraced them in reciprocation. After this, he came before Maharaj Nanda and Yashoda and offered his respectful obeisances. In response, Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj offered their blessings unto him. They addressed him as Jagadishwara, or the Lord of the universe who maintains everyone. The reason for this was that Krishna and Balaram maintain all living entities, yet Nanda and Yashoda were put into such difficulties on account of their absence. Feeling like this, they embraced Balaram, and seating him on their laps, they began their perpetual crying, wetting Balaram with their tears. Lord Balaram then offered his respectful obeisances to the elderly cowherd men and accepted the obeisances of the younger cowherd men. Thus, according to their different ages and relationships, Lord Balaram exchanged feelings of friendship with them. He shook hands with those who were his equals in age and friendship, and with loud laughing embraced each one of them. So you can see here how the residents of Vrindavan are receiving each other. And here Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, it's very nice how intimate they are with the Supreme Lord that they can call him these kind of names. Jagadishwara. And almost in one sense, it's sarcastic, because they don't feel like they're being maintained. They feel that because Krishna and Balaram are not there, they feel like their lives have been taken away. And in this way, out of great affection, they're able to call the Supreme Lord like this, and Supreme Lord enjoys that. Arjuna does this many times in the Bhagavad Gita also. He calls Krishna by different names that are very specific to the topic that he's speaking about. And it's almost poking, and Krishna pokes Arjuna back. He pokes him by calling him mighty armed while describing the weakness of the mind or something like this. Meaning that you are actually pretty weak. Bodily you're strong, but mentally you're weak. This kind of like poking goes front and back between Krishna and Arjuna because they're friends. You can see this is a very nice thing to relish in the Bhagavad Gita, as if you do a little study. So similarly over here, you can see Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda are calling Balaram as Jagadishwara, Lord of the universe. So the residents of Vrindavan, they know that Krishna and Balaram are Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because they are so overcome with affection for them, even their reference to them of being the lords of the universe is laced with their respective rasas. Like here, this would be technically considered disrespectful, but it's not disrespectful because parents can say these kind of things to their children. They can call them in a sarcastic manner, and the children enjoy that. So you can see here that even their reference to Krishna and Balaram as being the Supreme Personality of Godhead is also laced with their affection of parental love. This is Vrindavan. That Madhurya, sweetness, is found in everything. And the gopis also, this Krishna, like Uddhava, when he comes and speaks to the gopis, says, actually you see, Krishna is situated as Paramatma inside everyone's heart. All you need to do is meditate on him. And then you will not feel any separation. And the gopis then say, we want to forget him. Can you tell us a way to forget him? We don't know how to forget him. You're telling him how to remember him. We don't want to remember him. So even this Like they accept that, they know that Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, and they speak about these things. But it's all laced with the with the feelings of intimacy that's found in Vrindavan, sweetness. And you can also see how elders treat youngers, younger people treat the elders, and how equals relate with each other. So this is all wonderful, and this is all happening in Vrindavan. Therefore, in our society also, eventually we should cultivate these kind of different relationships, because this is how it is in Vrindavan, and this is culture. After being received by the cowherd men and boys, the gopis and King Nanda and Yashoda, Lord Balaram sat down feeling satisfied, and they all surrounded him. First, Lord Balaram inquired from them about their welfare, and then, since they had not seen him for such a long time, they began to ask him different questions. The inhabitants of Vrindavan had sacrificed everything for Krishna, simply being captivated by the lotus eyes of the Lord. Because of their great desire to love Krishna, they never desired anything like elevation to the heavenly planets or merging into the effulgence of Brahman to become one with the absolute truth. They were not even interested in enjoying a life of opulence, but they were interested in living a simple life in the village as cowherds. They were always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna and did not desire any personal benefits. They were all so much in love with him that in his absence, their voice faltered when they began to inquire from Balaramaji. So, again, this is the quality of Laulya, the aspect of greed, that the residents of Vrindavan, they don't know to do anything else, they don't want to do anything else. They are not interested, like it said over here, they are not interested in heavenly planets, merging with the effulgence. They were not even interested in enjoying a life of opulence, but were satisfied in living a simple life in the village as cowherd. So devotees are simple. Devotees are simple. They're simple. One who has that quality of great attraction towards Krishna is not interested in any of these things, in any of these other things that are not related to Krishna. For Krishna, he can have them. But if Krishna is not there, he is not interested. Because the residents of Vrindavan, it's the same thing like we were speaking this morning. What else is there to do? If they think of doing anything else, they immediately realize this has nothing. Krishna is not there, therefore there is no happiness there, finished. They are not interested. One who cannot even recognize where Krishna is and where Krishna is not, has no greed. You don't even know what Krishna is and what Krishna is not. You have no distinction between that which is spiritual and that which is material. Therefore, your greed is just sahajya. It's a mess. So, okay, continuing. First, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai inquired, "My dear Balaram, are our friends like Vasudev and others in the family doing well? Now you and Krishna are grown-up married men with children. In the happiness of family life, do you sometimes remember your poor father and mother, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi? It is very good news that the most sinful king Kamsa has been killed by you, and that our friends like Vasudev and others who had been harassed have now been relieved. It is also very good news that you and Krishna defeated Jarasandha and Kalayavana, who is now dead, and that you are now living in a fortified residence in Vrindavan." Again, if you understand this, you can take this a little bit deeper here. Basically, when Krishna and Balaram left Vrindavan, the first reason they left was because they had to kill Kamsa. Kamsa invited them for a wrestling match, so they had to go there. They had to kill Kamsa. Then after killing Kamsa, what does Krishna and Balaram tell Nanda Maharaj and the cowherd men and the boys who came to see the wrestling match? The women didn't come, and the women already knew this. If they leave, that's it. But what did they say? They said, "You see, we were born to Vasudeva and Devaki, and for so many years they've been tortured by this rascal Kamsa, and now finally they've been released. You've so affectionately raised us. Now we should give a little affection and time to our parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. So after spending a little time with them, we'll come back to Vrindavan, don't worry." Now, you see here what Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi are saying. So Vasudev and others, are they doing well? Is everybody finally satisfied? Do you think you've satisfied them enough? Now you are all grown up married men. We didn't even see your marriage. You're grown up married men with children. We didn't see your children either. Do you sometimes remember your poor mother and father? You all got married. We are your mother and father. You have children. We are your mother and father. Do you remember us? You can see that. You can see the pain if you analyze it a little bit. I mean, we can't really understand, but you can try to get a glimpse by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who is explaining this to us. In the happiness of family life, do you sometimes remember your poor mother and father? Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi. Oh, that king Kamsa, he's been killed. And Vasudeva and Devaki and others who have been harassed, they've now been relieved. It's been so many years since they got relief. It's also very good news that you and Krishna defeated Jarasandha. Oh, wait. You might say that, yes, this Jarasandha came and attacked Mathura, and Kala Yavana was there, and all these demons were there. Okay, everybody is dead. And now what you're living in a nice fortified residence called Dwaraka. What problems do you have? You still don't think that you still don't remember us? So it's very nice, very nectar, so much nectar here. And again, this is the point, that it's all laced with rasa. Now the gopis. When the gopis arrived, Lord Balaram glanced over them with loving eyes. Being overjoyed, the gopis who had so long been mortified on account of Krishna's and Balaram's absence began to ask about the welfare of the two brothers. They specifically asked Balaram whether Krishna was enjoying his life surrounded by the enlightened women of Dwarakapuri. Does he sometimes remember his father Nanda and mother Yashoda and other friends with whom he so intimately behaved while in Vrindavan? So the gopis say, okay, we're some useless, village girls, uneducated, simple, cowherd girls. You know what? We know how to milk cows. That's all we know. It's like, we don't know anything else. Now you have all these enlightened women in Dwarakapuri who are aristocratic. They have so many wonderful attributes, opulence and this and that. They're city women. We're just village, women. But does he remember his father? Does he remember his mother? Does he remember those friends with whom he intimately associated with? Does Krishna have any plans to come here to see his mother Yashoda? And does he remember us gopis who are now pitiably bereft of his company? Krishna may have forgotten us in the midst of the cultured women of Dwaraka, but as far as we are concerned, we still remember him by collecting flowers and sewing them into garlands. When he does not come, however, we simply pass our time by crying, if only he would come here and accept these garlands we have made. Dear Balaram, descendant of Dasharha, you know that we would give up everything for Krishna's friendship. Even in great distress, one cannot give up the connection of family members. But although it might be impossible for others, we gave up our fathers, mothers, sisters and relatives. But then Krishna, without caring a pinch for our renunciation, all of a sudden renounced us and went away. He broke off our intimate relationship without serious consideration and left for a foreign country. But he was so clever and cunning that he manufactured very nice words. He said, my dear gopis, please do not worry. The service you have rendered me is impossible for me to repay. After all, we are women. So how could we disbelieve him? Now we can understand that his sweet words were simply for cheating us. So here you can see that the gopis, Krishna is not here, but Krishna promised them that he will come back. So every day they sew flowers into garlands. Every day. And every day when Krishna doesn't come, they hold those garlands and weep. This is beyond the platform of logic. This is the standard of someone who is in laulyam, greed. He's not acting according to worldly consideration. He's not acting according to logic. He has deep, tremendous attachment for Krishna that is unshakable. It is unshakable. That kind of attachment is unshakable. This is that greed. So, protesting Krishna's absence from Vrindavan, Another gopi said, "My dear Balaramji, we are of course village girls, so Krishna could cheat us in that way. But what about the women of Dwaraka? Don't think that they are as foolish as we are. We village women might be misled by Krishna, but the women in the city of Dwaraka are very clever and intelligent. Therefore, I would be surprised if such city women could be misled by Krishna and could believe his words." Then another gopi began to speak. "My dear friend," she said, "Krishna is very clever in using words. No one can compete with him in that art. He can manufacture such colorful words and talk so sweetly that the heart of any woman would be misled. Besides that, he has perfected the art of smiling very attractively, and by seeing his smile, women become mad after him and give themselves to him without hesitation." Another gopi, after hearing this, said, "My dear friends, what is the use of talking about Krishna? If you are at all interested in passing time by talking, let us talk on some subject other than him. If cruel Krishna can pass his time without us, why can't we pass our time without Krishna? Of course, Krishna is passing his days without us happily, but we cannot pass our days happily without him." So you can see here how the gopis, they go into a sort of a madness, and they start debating amongst each other, offering different arguments. But all is an exhibition of them being deeply attached to Krishna. Such deep attachment to Krishna is revealed by them being able to speak these kind of things. This is all from the platform of love, and this cannot be imitated. When the gopis were talking in this way, their feelings for Krishna became more and more intense, and they were experiencing Krishna's smiling, Krishna's words of love, Krishna's attractive features, Krishna's characteristics, and Krishna's embraces. By the force of their ecstatic feelings, it appeared to them that Krishna was personally present and dancing before them. Because of their sweet remembrance of Krishna, they could not check their tears, and they cried without consideration. So to cry like this without consideration for women also is a very unusual thing. It's not a common thing. Women in Vedic culture are taught to be shy, they're taught to be chaste, they're taught to be reserved. But here their feelings of Krishna are so intense that they cry without consideration in front of Balaram. Lord Balaram, of course, could understand the ecstatic feelings of the gopis, and therefore he wanted to pacify them. As he was very expert in presenting an appeal, and thus he treated the gopis very respectfully, and he began to narrate the stories of Krishna so tactfully that the gopis became satisfied. To keep the gopis in Vrindavan satisfied, Lord Balaram stayed continuously for 2 months, namely the months of Chaitra, March, April, and Vaishakha, April, May. For those 2 months, he kept himself among the gopis, and he passed every night with them in the forest of Vrindavan just to satisfy their desire for conjugal love. Thus, Balaram also enjoyed the rasa dance with the gopis during those 2 months. Since the season was springtime, the breeze on the bank of the Yamuna was blowing very mildly, carrying the aroma of different flowers, especially the flower known as Kaumudi. Moonlight filled the sky and spread everywhere. And thus the banks of the Yamuna appeared very bright and pleasing, and Lord Balaram enjoyed the company of the gopis there. The demigod known as Varuna sent his daughter Varuni in the form of liquid honey oozing from the hollows of the trees. Because of this honey, the whole forest became aromatic, and the sweet aroma of the liquid honey, Varuni, captivated Balaramaji. Balaramaji and the gopis became very much attracted by the taste of Varuni, and all of them drank it together. While drinking this natural beverage, all the gopis chanted the glories of Lord Balaram, and Lord Balaram felt very happy, as if he had become intoxicated by drinking that Varuni beverage. His eyes rolled in a pleasing attitude. He was decorated with long garlands of forest flowers, and the whole situation appeared to be a great function of happiness because of this transcendental bliss. Lord Balaram smiled beautifully, and the drops of perspiration decorating his face appeared like soothing morning dew. So, Balaram is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he exhibits also the quality of being the enjoyer, and there is nothing wrong with that. And here you can see how Balaram is enjoying very nicely with the gopis, and how he likes to take honey. While Balaram was in that happy mood, he desired to enjoy the company of the gopis in the water of the Yamuna. Therefore he called the Yamuna to come nearby, but Yamuna neglected the order of Balaramji, considering him intoxicated. Lord Balaram became very much displeased at the Yamuna's neglecting his order. He immediately wanted to scratch the land near the river with his plowshare. Lord Balaram has 2 weapons, a plow and a club, from which he takes service when they are required. This time, he wanted to bring the Yamuna by force. He took the help of his plow. he wanted to punish the Yamuna because she did not come in obedience to his order. He addressed the Yamuna, "You wretched river, you did not care for my order. Now I shall teach you a lesson. You did not come to me voluntarily. Now with the help of my plow, I shall force you to come. I shall divide you into hundreds of scattered streams." When the Yamuna was threatened like this, she became greatly afraid of the power of Balaram, and she immediately came in person, falling at his lotus feet and praying thus: "My dear Balarama, you are the most powerful personality, and you are pleasing to everyone. Unfortunately, I forgot your glorious exalted position. But now I have come to my senses, and I remember that you hold all the planetary systems on your head merely by your partial expansion, Shesha. You are the sustainer of the whole universe. My dear Supreme Personality of Godhead, you are full with 6 opulences. Because I forgot your omnipotence, I have mistakenly disobeyed your order, and thus I have become a great offender. But my dear Lord, please know that I am a soul surrendered unto you, who are very affectionate to your devotees. Therefore, please excuse my impudence and mistakes, and by your causeless mercy, may you now release me." Upon displaying the submissive attitude, the Yamuna was forgiven, and when she came to nearby, Lord Balaram enjoyed the pleasure of swimming in her waters along with the gopis in the same way that an elephant enjoys himself along with his many she-elephants. After a long time, when Lord Balaram had enjoyed to his full satisfaction, he came out of the water, and immediately a goddess of fortune offered him a nice blue garment and a valuable necklace made of gold. After bathing in the Yamuna, Lord Balaram, dressed in blue garments and decorated with golden ornaments, looked very attractive to everyone. Lord Balaram's complexion is white, and when he was properly dressed, he looked exactly like the white elephant of King Indra in the heavenly planets. The river Yamuna still has many small branches due to being scratched by the plowshare of Lord Balaram, and all these branches of the river Yamuna still glorify the omnipotence of Lord Balaram. So one thing we can also see here is that Yamuna was initially, she didn't listen to Balaram. Then Balaram decides to chastise her, and at that time Yamuna comes to her senses, and then she accepts a submissive attitude and prays to be forgiven. Similarly, when we become rascals, the spiritual master also chastises us, and the chastisement is very heavy. But if we, instead of trying to defend our ego and defend our position, which is the worst thing you can do in front of the spiritual master, is try to justify, and instead of just accepting the position of being a fool. The best position of a disciple in front of the spiritual master is to accept that he's a fool, number one. That he's a fool, but he wants to become intelligent. Not that I'm a fool and I will remain a fool all the time. That attitude is not very pleasing. So if one accepts that submissive attitude, then the disciple is forgiven. And the spiritual master then engages the disciple in giving pleasure to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here Balaram himself is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he himself enjoys Yamuna. But spiritual master, he enjoys seeing his disciples engaged in the service of Krishna. He doesn't enjoy the disciples directly. There is an Apasampradaya in Bengal. I forgot the name. But basically, they say that because everything has to be offered to the spiritual master for his satisfaction, even the newly married wife is offered to the spiritual master for his satisfaction, and the spiritual master blesses the wife by having sex with her. It's not his wife. It's the wife of his disciple. So this kind of nonsense is not a bona fide spiritual master. And these kind of people can misunderstand the activities of Balarama or Nityananda and then become Prakrita Sahajiyas. But we can understand by the activities of the bona fide Acharyas what is actual behavior and what is not. Okay, Balaram and the gopis enjoyed transcendental pastimes together every night for 2 months, and time passed so quickly that all those nights appeared to be one night. In the presence of Lord Balaram, all the gopis and other inhabitants of Vrindavan became as cheerful as they had been before in the presence of both brothers, Lord Krishna and Balaram. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 65th chapter of Krishna, Lord Balaram visits Vrindavan. one technical point, Balaram does not do Rasa Leela with the gopis that Krishna enjoyed. Rather, he pleases those gopis by speaking about Krishna. Balaram has his own set of gopis who he enjoys with, because he is also Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Acharya has revealed to us as well. So that's one point to understand. And of course, all the residents of Vrindavan become cheerful. Why? Because Balaram is so engaged in talking about Krishna. We just read that. So these are all wonderful characteristics of the mood of Balaram. Such a wonderful personality, such a wonderful incarnation of the Supreme Lord that we can pray to. And we can pray to be inspired by Him, inspired by His wonderful qualities, inspired by His wonderful pastimes, inspired by His wonderful form. He's so beautiful. And ultimately, pray for that strength by which we can also experience that bliss, that eternal bliss, which is the goal of life, is to experience that bliss in service of Krishna. But that bliss will only come when we serve Krishna, and not the other way. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. Any questions or comments? Yes, Kalki Prabhu. What happened? Oh. Mm-hmm.
Hare Krishna. Does it matter? Okay. Hare Krishna. Just a question. So with this chapter that we just read here, so with Balaram coming back to Vrindavan, do we like? I'm just trying to understand that. Do we understand that that's like, so like kind of like that mood of Shankarshan is like kind of backed away, and it's kind of like do you like original like Balaram in that sense because he's in Vrindavan, or is it still kind of like that tinge of like?
Oh yeah. He's Balaram in Vrindavan.
Okay.
If he's not Balaram of Vrindavan,
Yeah.
he would not give pleasure to the Vrindavan Vasis. And in Vrindavan, Balaram is Lord Balaram, Krishna is Krishna. Why? Because they're overwhelmed by affection of the residents of Vrindavan. So yeah.
And then, just another question is, throughout the class you were talking about like loyam, greed. So just wondering, how is that loyam manifested in like Lord Chaitanya's associates? Because most of them are like direct counterparts in Vrindavan, but they have that same greed and that same intensity. So like, how is that manifested?
Prana cheta se hetu prachar. They preach. They preach either by example or they preach by enlightening the different conditioned souls. We see that in the form of the acharyas. They have that great desire to preach. Because this is what Lord Chaitanya appeared for. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori. He came to give the living entities prema, love of Godhead. This is why he appeared. And because he wants to do that, all his associates also appear to assist him in that mission, and they're all greedy to do that. So that's how it's manifest. You'll see even acharyas like Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, or Baladev Vidyabhushan, they're all on that platform of Raga Anuga Bhakti. They're all eternal associates of the Supreme Lord. But they had two sides to them. They had their side where they have an internal mood of worshipping Krishna in their original spiritual forms in Vrindavan, but then they were also simultaneously executing the mission of Lord Chaitanya by spreading that. If it weren't for Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhushan, we wouldn't be here. every Acharya consecutively has spread Lord Chaitanya's mission, up to a certain point from where their followers take it forward, but it's all in the grand scheme of Lord Chaitanya's vision to engulf the whole world in Krishna consciousness. And they were very active in that. So that's how it's exhibited. And this laulium that these others speak of, it's so wishy-washy. The same people, they say book distribution is karma yoga. Some kind of nonsense like this. No idea, no proper conception. And then they do these kirtans. It's like, oh my God. One of these groups released a video where they're doing a kirtan as if they're celebrating, the result of a soccer match. And there's a way in which soccer fans chant the name of the team. I can't imitate it, but I know what it is, And only those who have watched soccer, football, you know what this is. And then they chant the name of Radha exactly like that, and then they hop around the temple room like soccer fans holding their arms. It's so and then there's disco lights and all this, and and they're beating the drum, and it's so weird. Anyways, please, I know no one gets started. Yeah. Rishi?
In the beginning of the reading, there was, Srila Prabhupada mentioned the link between Sankarshan and the principle of gravity. And I read about that just yesterday in a purport.
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
He mentioned a link between Sankarshan and the idea of gravity.
Yeah.
At the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I read in a purport yesterday, Srila Prabhupada was saying there's an etymological link between Sankarshan and the idea of gravity. So I was just wondering what that link
Etymological means from the perspective of grammar. So, Sankarshan means attracting. So, Shankarshana in the form of Shesha is down near the Garbhodaka ocean, which is filled half the universe. And he's holding the planetary systems on his head. And it is by his force of attraction, because he's called Shankarshan. He's called Shankarshan because he was attracted to the womb of Rohini. From Devaki's womb, he was attracted to Rohini. So he's Shankarshan. But he's also Shankarshan because he attracts. He himself attracts. So, the reason why everything goes down, according to Shastra, why if you let go of an object, it drops down to because Sankarshan is there attracting everything. This is what the Srimad Bhagavatam tells us.
It's just a small point on the point, a few paragraphs, the previous chapter you were talking about. In the purport, it said that the gopis, they were completely satisfied with just living, a simple village life, because they were so absorbed, they were satisfied with just that. And it's just amazing because, like, the Prakriti Sahajya, as much as they're absorbed with being a cowherd boy or a cowherd girl, they refuse, they would never live on the farm. They would, they'll pick anywhere but the farm, live a simple life. They would rather die than live a simple life on the farm, but because they want to be gopis, so bad, they want to be cowherd boys. But
it's so weird.
They don't want to herd the cows. They don't want to actually, you don't want to go through with the castrate a boy. They don't want to go through any of these things what it takes to be an actual cowherd boy. It's just that they'd rather just live in the city somewhere and have the little house, the temple parties. And
These
act like
cowherd
that.
boys and
Cow-
girls don't, half of them half of them don't even know what a cow is, what it means to take care of a cow, nothing.
Yeah.
And they're not interested in cow protection anyways. They're all about all of that.
Yeah, they don't want to know
You
about
know,
the
so
science
it's
of
like-
agriculture or anything.
Anyways,
It's
I
really
saw
amazing.
another video, one of these Prakrita Sahajiyas, I forget what it was. They're enacting some pastime where they're carrying pots like gopis and then circumambulating I don't know what. But there's it's one of these shorts that comes up and they're like circumambulating something and trying to act like gopis and anyways, it's so weird because some of them are not even dressed in saris and they're dressed in whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's just
Yeah.
they think it's attractive to Krishna. Anyways, I'm just a conditioned soul, but it's not even attractive to a conditioned soul. How can it be attractive to Krishna? Anyways, Avadut?
Just more on this Prakriti Sahaja mood of greed. How if you take things cheaply, you'll ignore the very basic principle of Rupa Goswami's instruction in the Upadeshamrita that you shouldn't be greedy actually, but they reject that and then take something.
Yeah.
They think like you were saying, if you think yourself worthy for something that you don't deserve.
Forget all rules and regulations. Why did Rupa Goswami write that?
In the very beginning, yeah.
According to your stupid philosophy, you would even call Rupa Goswami a Vaidhi Bhakta, I don't know. Vacho, Vegam, Manasakra. Okay, forget that. What is that?
Atyahar.
Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagara, rules and regulations.
I also had a question, Prabhu. We're hearing today specifically that the spiritual master is being represented by Lord Balaram, but elsewhere in the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the Adi Leela, Prabhupada writes that the spiritual master is also representative of Nityananda Prabhu and Srimati Radharani.
Yeah.
So how do you piece all that together?
The point is that both of them are engaged in pleasing Krishna. So, in that sense, the spiritual master is both representative of Srimati Radharani and Nityananda Prabhu. Both serve Krishna, but they serve him in different ways. Srimati Radharani serves Krishna, Srimati Radharani and her associates and all the residents of Vrindavan serve Krishna by engaging in relationships with the Supreme Lord, in different kinds of relationships. Balarama ji specifically engages by becoming the different paraphernalia of the Supreme Lord, that's his main service, is he accepts different paraphernalia for the service of the Supreme Lord. Now the spiritual master, he arranges both actually. He teaches us how to engage necessary paraphernalia in Krishna's service. And he also teaches us how to develop a relationship with Krishna. He himself has a relationship with Krishna. And he sets an example of that. At the same time, Shri Vigrahara Dhana Nityanana Shringara Tanman Dhiramarjinado. Spiritual master also teaches us how to carefully engage, how to carefully arrange all the different paraphernalia. So, paraphernalia means how to create that proper mood and atmosphere for the Supreme Lord. You have to keep the temple clean. You have to worship the Supreme Lord in a specific way. He likes things done in a specific way. And all of that is taught by Balaram. Example of Balaram. The garments of the Supreme Lord, the ornaments of the Supreme Lord. Why do we have these kind of ornaments? Because Balaram became those ornaments for Krishna. So spiritual master teaches us, these are the kind of ornaments you put. People wear all kinds of wacky ornaments. We don't put that on the deity. Why do we have very specific kinds of ornaments? Because these are the kinds of ornaments that Krishna wears. So this is one way in which we can understand this. Okay, anything else? Mataji's? No. Hare Krishna. Shri Balaram Purnima ki jai. Shri Baladev ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.